hotel banquet room, which is what my father did for many years as a bartender. And I always open my speeches with that because it's a reminder to me and hopefully to our audience that so much of what I've been able to do in this life, the opportunities that I've had, have been a direct result of the experience that they felt in this country. So both of my parents were born to poor families on the island of Cuba. They were born into societies like most of the societies in the world where your future depends largely on what your parents did before you. And so in 1956, my parents left their homeland and came here to the United States of America. Life in this country was not easy for them at first. But in time, they found good jobs. My father became a bartender, primarily working banquets like this. My mother was a cashier, a stock clerk at Kmart, a maid at a hotel like this. And in time, they earned enough money to do things like buy a home and raise a family and retire with security. And most important of all for them, they were able to leave all 4 of their children better off than themselves. I'm often reminded, by the way, that I don't come from privilege. And if by privilege people mean money or fame, they're right. But I know this, that while my parents never made enough money to save for me to go to college, that's why I had over $100,000 in student loan debt, which I was able to pay off recently with the proceeds of my book, An American Son, which is now available on paperback. And I didn't inherit any real estate, I didn't inherit any money. Even now, by the way, our mortgages are still a larger part of our budget than we wish they were. And yet I still consider myself to be a child of incredible privilege. Because I was raised in a stable home by 2 married parents who loved each other and loved us, and who taught us and instilled in us the values we would need to succeed. And most important of all, they taught me that there was no dream too big, and there was no goal out of reach, even for the son of a bartender and a maid, because I was an American. And these opportunities, my life's journey, my parents' life journeys, and the opportunities that I've had, they are the direct result of one thing. And that is the fact that my parents came here and I grew up during the American century. The 20th century was a century where America led the world against evil. A century driven by an American economy that produced the best companies, the best products, the best jobs in the entire world. And a century in which America was the one place on earth where anyone willing to work hard could achieve the universal dream of a better life. But the world is different now. The early years of this new century have brought about the most significant period of change since the Industrial Revolution. For much of the 20th century, America had limited international competition. But now, we are engaged in a global competition for the best companies, the best talent, the best ideas, and the best jobs. For much of the 20th century, we had plenty of good-paying jobs, even for people like my parents with a limited education. But now, many of these jobs either no longer pay enough, or they've been replaced by a machine. For much of the 20th century, the world was defined first by 2 world wars, and then a Cold War. But now, from autocratic governments in China, Russia, and Iran, to radical jihadists, we don't face one, we face multiple threats to our prosperity and to our security. We now live in a time unlike any moment before it, with problems and opportunities unique to this moment. Now, there are those seeking the presidency based solely on what they've achieved in the past. But I'm running for president because what we need now are leaders and solutions that are grounded in the future, in this new era that we now have. So today, while the cost of living keeps climbing, 2/3, 2 out of 3 Americans make less money today than they did in the year 2002. Our outdated policies from yesterday are not going to fix this. But if I am honored with the opportunity to be president, we will put in place new ideas that will help our people increase their paycheck and reduce their bills. First, we're going to have new tax policies. Tax policies that say that the more your employer pays you, the less they will owe in taxes to the IRS. We will help working families by helping them to keep more of what they earn, so that middle-class families will have the funds necessary to raise strong families in the 21st century. And we will lead the world in the production of energy, so that the cost of utilities and of gassing up your car will stabilize and in time come down and no longer keep going up for our working families. Today, because of automation and technology, the good-paying jobs require more training and more skills and more education than they ever have before. But because millions of Americans lack these skills, they find themselves out of work or stuck in low-paying jobs. But if I'm blessed with the opportunity to be president, we will change this. We will put in place new policies that will give our people or help our people acquire the skills that they need for the better-paying jobs of this new century. For starters, instead of pushing everyone to go to a traditional four-year college, we will transform higher education so that it's accessible and affordable to all of our people. We'll focus on training more people, more young people to be in a skilled trade. We still need more welders, more plumbers, more electricians, more people